So today I wanted to talk about Bashar's idea of permission slip and Lila, the concept of Lila. So basically, the idea of the permission slip is that so like any technique that you might use, spiritual technique or whatever, it's just a permission slip. So you're giving yourself permission, quote unquote, to sort of catalyze this experience or this altered state or change your reality in some sort of way. Whereas, but since it's just a permission slip, you don't, it's like a, it's sort of immaterial. Like you don't like really need it. But so one way to look at this would be that, would be sort of having a sort of negative view of techniques in general. Um, which I don't think most people do per se, but I wanted to sort of blow this idea up. And so if you look at it, so really if you take this as a given that you're creating everything that you experience, um, then but you don't, you yourself, your ego mind isn't aware of that in an unfiltered way, right? So what this means is that you're placing certain limitations on yourself voluntarily. Duh. Um, but there's a type of limitations that, so we want to, like in spiritual communities, it's like limiting beliefs. So these are limitations that we want to resolve and transcend, right? But then there's limitations of like, you're not omniscient, you don't know everything, right? So there's some limitations that you are placing on yourself that you must enjoy, right? So if you think of the idea of a game, like any game, if it's going to be a formal game, it's going to have rules. What are rules? Rules are limitations. Without limitations, without rules, there's no game, right? So the people who play the game, they're willingly imposing limits upon themselves, and within the structure of the game. So okay, so furthermore, um, not all techniques are equal. Now, you could say that's just preference, sure. But so one of the sort of themes that you find within mysticism and magic over the millennia is this kind of pursuit of more powerful techniques to alter reality and alter consciousness. Okay. Um, and really, that pursuit is in itself, it's like a game in a way, like it's fun, right? Because there's people who developed these techniques who came before us, right? And that's something I've always been into. For example, I've always really been into Tantra, and people who are in the Tantra are kind of generally of the opinion that its sort of techniques are very quite powerful, um, and profound, much more powerful than your sort of maybe more run of the mill kind of mysticism. Um, So when it comes to spiritual and magical techniques, technology, it's not all created equal. And now you could say, well, you know, some people, whatever, it's a preference thing, sure, but there's like collective agreements or blah blah blah, and I think there is like a sort of energetic. There's like a there's almost like a physics to it. What is physics? Um, it's a much broader, more all-encompassing kind of physics, um, which I'll explore in further videos. Bye.